So I think that like the protest and rallying, the marching, I think that's beautiful in the sense of capturing that attention. But I think that a couple changes that we can do is making sure that we're having the proper councilmen, people that we're able to elect and vote for. Make sure we're having the people who have the best intentions. Make sure we educate ourselves on that. The history of politics and things like that as well. Just to understand the basics of it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think even where we are in our jobs, there's like systematic racism in jobs. So if you're able to speak up, be that voice, be that voice of reason in those type of meetings, because a lot of people, they can just go for actions and not really take in consideration like sentiments at first. It's like we have to do something about this instead of kind of just hearing out the problems from an open mind. So I think that's just being a good listener too and an empath. I think that'll help bring change, because if you understand, although the people will never truly understand the severity of how racism goes, at least you can understand how it's impacting how that person moves or how it impacts where you are, period.
I understand that. Well, talking about, for example, Kyla, you are the president of the Black Union, Black Students Union in the university. I do believe that we all professors have a responsibility to help and to be part of this conversation. What do you want us as a professor and the university in general to do differently, or to be able to contribute in order to change the racial discrimination?
Um, for one thing, I think that not only like the professors, but like all the faculty, like on a higher level, I think that they should all. I don't want to say release a statement, because releasing a statement seems so cliche. But when we go back to school, I think there should be some sort of um like, not, I want to say panel, but there should be some sort of discussion with the
Hmm.
community about like what racial discrimination is and how it does negatively affect the community, and the people who do in the school who are racist and do discriminate against other people, I think that they should face some precautions. They don't have to get expelled per se, but there should be some precautions for it, because a lot of times it's just swept under the rug, and those people know it's going to be swept under the rug, that nothing's really going to happen, so they're going to keep doing it and encouraging other people to do it. So I feel like that conversation definitely needs to be had. And also, a lot of people don't really like see the problem with it. I've realized during this time, a lot of people don't see that discrimination is real and that they're doing it towards other people. So I think that having that conversation and that discussion is very important for the Oswego community as a whole.
Hmm. Marquél?
Um, I think Kayla hit it on the ball, really.
Uh,
I think as professors, definitely um, getting to know your students on an individual level. I think you, Professor Suarez, in my experience, you've been doing a great job with that. Through the classes I've taken, being able to learn the differences, learning the styles of all your students, and being able to work on that. Um, and if a student is kind of like not acting normal, just kind of checking in with them, seeing what it is that's, kind of bothering them, without being too pushy on it.
hmm.
And just making sure that you're there for them at all points, not just on an educational standpoint.
Yeah, well, definitely. That's
Hmm.
what that's where I believe education is beyond the theoretical aspect of how to produce a video, right? Is that personal connection that allowed you to know your students well, and to be able to help them to develop not only professionally but also as a human being. That is, I think, the goal of any of the professors in SUNY Oswego. Okay, the other thing that, of course, we need to talk about it a little bit is politics. Is interesting because the problem is that we are living in a time where talking about politics make everybody feel so scared that, oh, I'm choosing one side or I'm choosing the other side. But the truth is that the people that is in charge, from Congress to the President of the United States, you name it, are people that have a lot of power to change things because they create the laws that we live with, right?
Right.
So to try to talk about racial discrimination, about what is happening in the street, about the death of Mr. Floyd, and not talk about politics is also unreal. It doesn't make sense. But without choosing a side or have to go deep into this conversation about politics, my question to you is, how the young generation, how important you think politics is in these changes that we want, right? Do you believe in the institutions that are actually working for us at this point? Dun, 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 dun.
um. So I think that politicians, they aren't doing so much what they need to be doing. I think they're kind of they're the ones that can do really the heavy duty work. We're doing the leg work as far as giving these recommendations. We're the people, so you're supposed to be listening to us. You're supposed to be serving us. We're putting you in this place for you to do that. And I think that they should be on their top game as far as uh, making sure that these things don't happen, putting policies, putting laws, amending things that, kind of are supporting the bad things that are going on now. Like banning the excessive force of police officers. Like we do have the body cams that police officers have now, but what what work is that really using? I did hear like in like by the Manhattan Bridge when they closed it last week that all body cams and things like that were shut off. Even people weren't able to use their cameras to record what was going on. So that right there should sound something,
Mhm,
something
mhm.
fishy about that. So I think lawmakers should be, more intentional and direct with what they want to happen, as well as listening to us.
Mhm.
I agree with Markel. Like, I think that the people you put in office, even if it's like the smallest office ever, their duty is to listen and to enforce certain rules. So if you're saying that something that you have in place is not working at all, that it's your responsibility to change it. And I feel like we've seen like people who should not be in office, not only during this time, but like when the pandemic happened, because there were a lot of mayors, a lot of governors, even the president talking about the pandemic isn't real, COVID isn't real, so letting almost anything happen. Places like Atlanta and Florida opened like 2 weeks after, and then the numbers shot right up. So I feel like not just with the whole with what's going on right now, but the pandemic as well, that we've really seen who should be and who's fit to be in office and what kind of person that you want to be in office for like the next term,
Mhm.
whether it's mayor, governor, president, any of that sort.
Do you think this situation have wake up the young generation desire for voting and to go and vote in November?
Part of me does feel like it has, but at the same time, a lot of people, from what I've seen, a lot of people don't want to vote because their choices are Biden and Trump. As of right now, their choices are Biden and Trump, and they don't like either one. But what I'm trying to tell these people is, if you don't vote, like the last election, if you don't vote, that's a vote for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Markel?
Yeah, I agree with Kayla. Mm.
Yeah. Okay, so let's try to wrap it up. And unfortunately, I could be talking to you guys the whole morning. Um, what is a dream? What is it that you want to give the last message to our viewers, which are students like you? So I would like to start with Kyla, and what is your last message to our students and your generation out there?
Um, I want to say to always be yourself first. Always make sure your mental health is okay and perfect. Sign petitions, donate if you can share and spread the word on anything. If you're passionate about something, don't let anybody feel like don't let anybody make you feel like it's stupid.
Perfect. And Marquél?
So along with what Kayla said, I would say make sure you're standing firm on your beliefs. Like we talked about earlier, if there's any ways that you can help in any situation, it doesn't have to be as severe and deeply as social or racism or discrimination. It could be as far as if someone needs help on homework, just making sure you can do your part and make sure you're not looking for anything anything in return. And like Kayla said, if you have a passion, talk about these type of things in your art form on your platform, like Professor Suarez. I appreciate you inviting us on your podcast. I talk about these things in my music. People, if you don't have the proper words, draw it out. But just make sure your message is getting across. Make sure your voice is being heard in any way possible.
I do appreciate it so much.